Okay. Okay, just in time for Steve to read the land acknowledgement. Muted. Steve.
Unmute myself first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Try it again. We should take a moment to acknowledge the land on which we are gathered. For thousands of years, this land has been the home of the Putman people, including the Yoche Dehi Wintun Nation today. The Putman people have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. It has been cherished and protected as elders have instructed the young through the generation. We are honored and grateful to be here today on their traditional lands.
Thank you so much. Let's begin our meeting today with a few moments of reflection. Thank you, everybody. So I am so excited tonight. Our guest tonight is an amazing person. So fantastic. I'm so excited. Our guest tonight is Debbie Toth. She has spent over 28 years working for the dignity and independence of elders, including over 21 years at Choice and Aging. In 2012, Debbie became the CEO of Choice and Aging, where she oversees 2 adult day health care programs in Pleasant Hill and Antioch, and has expanded other services into 3 additional counties. In recognition of Debbie's vast knowledge of aging issues and programs, Debbie was appointed to Governor Newsom's Master Plan for Aging Stakeholder Advisory Committee, which was tasked with creating a statewide blueprint for how we would prepare California for the coming demographic changes of a rapidly aging population and create policies that are equitable and promote independence. In 2023, Debbie was the recipient of Justice in Aging's Paul Matheson Distinguished Advocate Award for her contributions to bettering lives of elders. In 2019, Choice in Aging was named California Nonprofit of the Year by Assembly Member Tim Grayson. And in 2015, Debbie was named Assembly District 14's Woman of the Year by then Assemblywoman Susan Bonilla. Please welcome Debbie Toth.
Thank you.
Spotlight you. Hello.
Ooh, scary.
Oh, hush.
The thing about Zoom, I don't think we were ever intended to just stare at our own faces like this, but that's what it does. So I am going to do my view on gallery view. I don't know if I messed up your spotlighting. Hopefully I did not. Okay, fantastic. I like to look at everybody in the room who's here. So thank you so much for the introduction, and I'm really happy to be here in my own community. I am a Solano County resident and have been for over 20 years. My husband and I have raised our 3 children climbing the trails at Rockville and enjoying the beauty that Solano County has to offer. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what is the master plan for aging and how it has led to some advocacy priorities and some movement of joining forces between aging and disability to get greater outcomes for everyone to be able to age in their setting of choice with the support that they need to do so. So the master plan for aging, I want to share with this group because you're advocates, right? Really came out of 2 things. One was doing a study in California. There were some foundations that pooled their funding and did a massive study in the state of California to find out voter preferences around planning for aging. And since, older adults are a large voting bloc in California and the rest of the United States, there was some pressure that came to bear on. There were 2 candidates running for governor at the time, one Republican and one Democrat. And so we showed up at every single town hall, presented the data from the study saying that older adults care about a master plan for aging. And will you, if elected, do an executive order calling for a master plan for aging? And they both said that they would. And we had them on multiple videos saying that. So guess what? When Newsom got elected, we were like, hello, remember? Remember when? So it was really setting the stage for that and then allowing him the opportunity to do that. And then he appointed 34 of us from throughout the state of California to come together. We all had different areas of expertise in aging. For me, at Choice in Aging, my area of expertise is how we keep people out of or get people out of skilled nursing facilities. There were people that had experts on law, on research, on assisted living, on skilled nursing, like, so a lot of different experts. And we came up with 800 and some odd recommendations that went to the governor's cabinet level work group, and they pared it down to 143 recommendations or something at the end of the day. But we had our master plan for aging. And what that is a policy blueprint. And it has allowed us to enact more legislation around aging in the last 3 years than in my entire career working with older adults. So is it funded? The answer is no. That's where advocacy comes into play. So thank you. Julia put the link to the master plan for aging in the chat. And the California Department of Aging not only hosts the website for the master plan for aging, but they also have a data dashboard, and you can click on Solano County and learn about things specific to Solano County or anywhere in the state. Actually, it's quite amazing. But this blueprint allows us to create legislation. And I want to back up and talk about just for a second why that's really, really important. We gained 3 decades of life expectancy in the last century, and we did nothing to plan for it. Not in our lived environment, not in our healthcare systems, not in our policies, not in our health, like nowhere. We don't have a long-term care system. What we have is a de facto institutionally biased poverty pipeline. People spend all the money they have to get care in their home where they want to live. And when they run out of money, they have 2 options. They go to the streets or they go to a skilled nursing facility. Both suck, right? Sorry, excuse my language. And neither of them are inexpensive for taxpayers because we deliver healthcare and services to people who are living on the streets. And skilled nursing facilities are the most expensive place for somebody to live. And what's interesting to me, there was a study done by AARP in 2017 that looked at, of all the Medi-Cal beneficiaries living in skilled nursing facilities in the state of California, how many are low level of care? And the answer in 2017 was 37,000 human beings. 37,000 people were living in skilled nursing facilities who didn't need to be there. So we have this broken system. We call it a system. It's not a system. It's a as I said, institutionally biased poverty pipeline. And we have a crisis. The largest percentage of people becoming homeless are older adults. They are also first-time homeless. They are also the first population ever to become the largest growing segment of the homeless population that is not either because of a mental illness or a substance use disorder. It's because of poverty. It's because they cannot afford to age where they wish to age. So what we found in the master plan for aging process was we could bring aging and disability together. And not everybody who's aging recognizes or acknowledges themselves as somebody with a disability. And not everybody with a disability identifies as being aging, but chances are if you live long enough, you age into disability. You may not want to call it that, but that's the fact. And you will need assistance with your activities of daily living and your instrumental activities of daily living. So things like transportation or things like walking, things like bathing, things like eating, things like getting to and from medical appointments, things like paying your bills, all of those things you will likely need support with if you live long enough. And so this beautiful synergy happened. And I will say at this entire time that I've been at Choice in Aging, I go to Sacramento every year and beg just to keep existing, just to provide adult day healthcare, just to provide complex case management, just to give you a sense. We have a program called the Multipurpose Senior Services Program here in Solano County. And we have a nurse and a social worker team that go into people's homes who are 65 and older that are at a skilled nursing level of care. That is to say that Medi-Cal would pay to have them living in a skilled nursing facility today for $125,000 a year. and the state spends $6,000 a year on them with this nurse and social worker team to keep them out of the skilled nursing facility. And they're able to do that. Like, so we have all of these programs and systems that cost less money to keep people out, but we don't prioritize them. We prioritize institutional care, hospitals, long-term care facilities, skilled nursing facilities. That's where people go. So we found that in bringing aging and disability together, we had a stronger voice. And while we were going and advocating in all of these places and spaces, and we were learning, you can't just talk about the human. Like, we love older people and we want them to be able to age with dignity. That wasn't making the message. So we had to talk about the finances of it. So I can give you every financial argument for everything we do. So at the end of the day, when we combined forces, we were able to really start shifting the narrative in Sacramento. And we joined forces under an organization called the California Collaborative for Long-Term Services and Supports. So I'm getting to the advocacy piece because we just had our advocacy day. I had 7 meetings. I don't know how many meetings other people had in the collaborative, but we come together and we identify priority areas. We identify legislation that is related to the master plan for aging, and we find legislation that is related to what our 3 areas of priority are for each year. And then we advocate for those. So if you wanted to plug into an existing infrastructure that has that, I can't share my screen, but what I can do, unless you want to give me permission to do that, Julia, I can either share my screen or I can send to Julia the document that we use. So we create this document. I can share now.
Mhm.
All right, here we go. Okay, so everybody should be able to see my screen, and blessedly it's in the PDF, so you guys are not seeing how many tabs I have open on my internet browser. But so this is our you see, I've got the picture of everybody there that's blocking my slide bar. Okay, there we go. So this is the California Collaborative for Long-Term Services and Supports. This was the policy priority document that, and I will still send it to Julia and she can send it out to the group. But so we identify our 3 priorities for action are expanding access to long-term supports and services, addressing California's caregiver crisis, and prioritizing older and disabled adults in housing policy. Because guess what? I'm like good friends with our state treasurer, and I contacted her and I was like, so Fiona, since you're over the tax credit allocation committee, can you tell me how many of the low-income housing funding projects are for older adults? And the answer was no, they're not even tracking that at the state level. So we don't even think about older adults except when we have to report on them in certain numbers. So this document is brilliant because it actually has the first ever graphic I've ever seen that does a really good job of clarifying the long-term support services and systems. What are they? There are home-based, there are community-based, and there are facility-based. And it lists some of those examples. And then there's some great demonstration here about unprecedented need. And then this document goes into those 3 areas I talked about: access to long-term supports and services, protecting the caregivers, and the housing for aging and disability policy. So each one of these talks about that. And then we list different pieces of legislation that actually touches on solving what those problems are. So as I said, I am happy to share this with Julia. She can send it out to the group, but this is an easy way that you can plug into an existing infrastructure that is trying to make a better community for all of us. I will venture to say, and I know that I've gone on too long, but the older adult population, whether or not you love them like I do, and I'm actually becoming one, I don't know if it's gracefully, but I am becoming one. If we live long enough and we're fortunate, we become an older adult, right? Not everybody has to love them like I do. But if we don't do right by them, if we don't plan better, we don't have better policies, we don't prevent homelessness, we are just handing our children and our grandchildren a huge expense that was preventable. And I just admitted Kay Patrice to the room. Sorry.
You are
You can't-
you're doing my job for me, man. This is awesome.
you can't give me the controls and then not let me.
I'll let you control. You're good.
All right. All right. But
But
Kay Patrice has heard my whole spiel before. But anyway, it is an imperative. If we do not do something now, we are saddling our children and our grandchildren with preventable debt.
Excellent. Dwayne, it looks like you have a comment or a question.
That was quick. Yes. Hi, Debbie. So
Hi.
Marilyn and I are very lucky. We live in Paradise Valley Estates, I guess, as you know about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're lucky because we can afford to do it. But the basic model, it kind of reminds me of the partnership health plan, healthcare model, where you have all the services available. I mean, you don't necessarily get Cadillac service, but you get quality service. And it strikes me that at a reasonable price, this kind of a model could be done with, with safe housing, and that down the road, you know where you're going to go. It's there. It's on campus. There's skilled nursing and memory care and assisted living if need be. Is anybody doing that in any kind of a supported way anywhere in the country?
So that's a great question. So you're referencing what's used to be called as a continuing care retirement community.
Yeah,
So it
right.
allows all levels of care.
Right.
The only continuing care retirement communities of which I am aware are for people who have really great means. I don't see any nonprofit organizations that are doing it with sliding scale or anything like that. It's very expensive to buy into a continuing
Right.
care retirement community. What I will tell you is at Choice in Aging, we are creating an aging in place campus. I only need 16 million more dollars. So if any of you just want to write a check tonight, please feel
Yeah.
free. But we've raised 16 million. We have
Cool.
another 16 million to raise. We're partnering with Satellite Affordable Housing Associates. They're going to build 82 units of low income senior housing. 20 of them will be dedicated to veterans. And we're building the adult day healthcare, our intergenerational preschool that comes over and hangs out with our adult day healthcare clients,
Cool.
and space to continue to increase our case management, our transitions programs, all the things that keep people living in the community, accessible transportation, nutrition. So we do all those things. We're going to do it in one campus. We have 4 acres of land. We're going to do it in one campus, and we are going to prove that you can have people age in place independently in their apartments with the right wraparound services on
Right.
campus and not need skilled nursing facility care. So we are piloting that, and that is going to be a proof of concept model that we hope to see replicated throughout the United States. So yes, we're thinking about it. Yes, we think we know how to do it really, really well. We've got health services down. We've got social services down. We've got intergenerational, spiritual, multicultural. We have Russian programs. We have Farsi programs. We have late stage Alzheimer's programs. We have it nailed down. We just need to figure out the funding, and then we need to change the policy and the budget that has that institutional bias to funding.
So where is this?
In Pleasant Hill, it's across the
Okay.
street from DVC behind their overflow parking lot. And by the way, any of you, if you want to see an amazing adult day healthcare in progress, I'm happy to have you come and take you on a tour. We also have complex case management and mental health program supports and diversions and helping people out of skilled nursing here in Solano County, but it's not a congregate day program where you can see the interaction happening.
Well, that's exactly the kind of thing I was encouraging. So thank you for having a pilot program, and it should work. I mean, again, I go back to the partnership health plan a lot as a model for how to provide healthcare to people as a managed care model, and it's way cheaper down the road, all in. But you've got to front load it. Yeah, you just have to front load it. Yeah,
100%.
Thanks,
yeah,
Dwayne.
cool. Thank you.
Okay, Kathy, you have your hand up.
I do. So I belong to Kara, and I'm sure you've spoken to us because
Yes.
this is the thing we've been fighting for a long time. And I've been on the LTSS committee, LTSS for all, and attended all those boring insurance committee. Oh my God, ad nauseum. So the biggest thing is money. And one of the other big things is when I talk to people, if it doesn't affect them, they don't want to hear that it might have some money that might have to be taxes. There's a whole educational process that I see. And the other is that we're not going to get anything this year with the budget. And they always link things like that. Oh yeah, they promise a lot, but it doesn't matter if you build 100 units, we're 5,000 units behind already. I mean, it's almost impossible to catch up unless there's a concerted effort to really pay attention and build housing units, not just for the elderly. I mean, what is considered reasonable housing, and the other thing is what is considered reasonable pay for the workers. They make more going to flip burgers than they do through the county, and I think that's another educational process. It's just sad. How are we going to overcome this? How are we going to, and I am another lucky older adult right now, but I've always said we're one big medical crisis away from potentially losing everything.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And I think, that is a multi-pronged solution. And I think that we need to stop just talking about building housing. We need to talk about how to use the housing that we have and how to use the buildings that we have and how we convert things. And we need to stop thinking about single human beings. We need to think about ourselves as a community of human beings that need to share space in this land. And we need to connect all of that to saving the environment. Like, all of this stuff ties together. I don't think just for older adults we need to do that, but we definitely need to track that, because accessibility is a huge issue. People need to be able to age in place. And if we don't build accessible housing, we're going to have people age out of where they're supposed to be living or where they want to be living. So I think we have to do a lot to address all of those issues. And I also think that I'm not Pollyanna. We have rough budget years, but the thing is when we have rough budget years, show up and get policy in there. We can work on the budget on years when we have better budget years. We're not going to get that this year, and we're not going to go and fight for budget things we can't win. Let's change policy this year, and then we go back in 2 years and get the funding for it. So, I mean, I just don't want downtime. We just got to be smart about how we do this. We recognize that, the budget is cyclical, and we're going to have good years and we're going to have bad years. So pick up on policy on the hard budget years, and then get your funding for the programs in the years where we have more flush capital. I think part of this is education. People need to understand the impact of what not doing something means. And I think we all need to be activated. I think we all need to show up everywhere that we possibly can. And we need to elect more women and more Black women. And I think that we will start to see the change that we want to see in our community when we pick women who know how. And I'm sorry, men, I don't mean to be against the men. It's not about that, but it's about people who can show up and do multiple things at multiple times and really fight hard for things. I mean, I see it in our Solano County leadership is changing, and it's changing in a beautiful way. And I have a lot of hope here that things are going to get better because of that. Maybe that's Pollyanna, but that's kind of what I'm starting to see.
I think there are a lot of legislators out there. If we can align ourselves with them now, when the money's there, they'll be there for us.
Correct.
But we have to make those alliances now.
Yeah, develop your relationships, right? I mean, Kay Patrice will tell you, we've had fundraisers in my backyard for Kay Patrice. We've had them for Assembly Member Lori Wilson. We've had them for our incoming supervisor, Cassandra James. Get up, show up, do the things, and get the right people elected, and you will have those relationships, and those things will come to fruition because we're electing the right people who want to do the right thing.
Okay, Frances, your hand has been up.
Yes, Debbie, you mentioned aging in place, and my husband has aged. I'm not quite there yet, but I am interested in aging in place. I was looking at Paradise Valley Estate, and I can't get my husband to come with me. So therefore, as we do get older, I was quite intrigued by when you say resources are available for aging in place. I mean, we've got 2 gardeners, we've got 1 housekeeper. What is out there, and all those resources linked to income?
So that's a very good question. In California, you either have to be extremely wealthy or extremely poor. That missing middle gets the brunt of lack of services. So if you have a ton of money, you can pay to afford whatever it is you need. If you're on Medi-Cal, you're really low income, you can get most of the services and supports you need through either your Medi-Cal managed care plan or through county plans. or through nonprofit organizations. The missing middle has a really, really tough time. And when I talk about aging in place, I'm talking about, do you have stairs in your home? Do you have rugs in your home? Do you have steps that lead into your house? Do you have grab bars in the bathroom? Are you able to access food? Are you able to get to and from your medical appointments? Are you able to get the care that you need and receive in your home? Like, all of these things are parts of aging in place. And for the middle income population, it's called the missing middle for a reason, because they cannot afford most of these programs and services. So the other big piece of the puzzle is that most people, because these are all optional benefits, do not know if they exist or where they exist, because they are different from county to county to county. So I will say that the Medi-Cal Managed Care new program called CalAIM is endeavoring to address all of those issues as a whole human being. But again, that's for the Medi-Cal population. So we aren't doing enough to have resources for the middle income or the missing middle population, but there are quite a few nonprofit organizations that provide those services: fall prevention, home assessment. We can at Choice and Aging come in and look at your home and make recommendations for you, and we can refer you to programs that you can avail yourself of, but there aren't many for the missing middle.
Yeah. The one thing I would like to ask is, so as a mom of two medically diagnosed disabled kids, the thing that I have found to be the hardest to navigate is what exists.
Yeah.
What is even out there? And so
Yeah.
like, I think for this year, the thing that I personally will be concentrating on for my advocacy is getting that to be the policy that becomes easier, is actually don't ask me what I need, tell me what's available.
Right, right. And I think this is the big problem, right? Is that we don't plan for aging. We don't think about aging. If you think about it, there are in-home daycares, there's preschool, there's pre-K, there's kindergarten, there's first grade. Each one of these are designed for the developmental stage of the human being. We know that when we turn 15 and a half, we're going to get our driver's permit. So the day we turn 16, we can get our driver's license so we can be liberated. We know we need to graduate high school so we can get a job, so we can get the heck out of our parents. Like, we know every single step of the way of everything we're going to do, and it's planned until you're 65. Then bye-bye. You don't exist anymore. There's no plan. And we don't do a good job of talking about what services are available. And I have to say, we do a particularly crappy job of it in Solano County. That's the only reason Choice and Aging is in Solano County, is because they were doing such a poor job of running older adult programs. And I felt like we were forced to move into this space. We are still not doing a good job. I am going to rabble rouse some folks. I've been working with Jenna Lee in Sassoon and with Tracy Stacy, who runs our PEAS outreach program and suicide prevention. And I want to start bringing seniors back to the table. I want to start doing education. I want to start doing outreach. I want to start doing senior fairs. In Contra Costa County, if you call 800-510-2020, you get information on the assistance on the phone answered by a social worker who can tell you what all the programs and services are and talk to you about what your needs are. We don't have that yet in Solano. And we can do better. We can do a heck of a lot better around aging issues in Solano County. Sorry.
No, you're great. Kathy, you're going to be last question, so go for it. You are muted though. You're still muted. There you go.
It's not so much a question as just when my parents got old, they lived in northern Michigan, and their county, which has a lot of people retire up there, passed a special sales tax to go specifically for senior services. And it was really a lifesaver. And they would provide things like an hour a day of home care. People who could shop, clean, make sure everything was okay, yard care, snow plows in the winter, housekeeping services on a sliding scale based not upon their property, but upon their current income. And it was literally, a lifesaver. So I don't know if those things, as Julie said, I don't know if that exists in Solano County.
I love that. No, there's no snow plowing here, but what I can
Yeah.
tell you, what I can tell you is in Contra Costa, we did pass a half-cent sales tax for safety net services. And we are getting $2 million a year to go towards items, priorities identified in the master plan for aging that we study locally to figure out where the greatest need is. I can tell you that I worked on developing the master plan. I've developed the local master plan in Contra Costa, and the Solano County folks are doing it as county staff in a vacuum, and it's ridiculous. So we could do better. I know how to do it better. We have done it better. Some of those services are available through the Area Agency on Aging, but you have to know that that exists in order to know that you can tap them. And nobody knows because there's no outreach, there's no tabling, there's no events, there's no bringing people together and collaborating. We're not doing health fairs. We're not doing the things that we need to be doing to get the word out to the people in the county. And yes, Solano County does have an aging and disability resource connection, but what has anybody seen of it? I have a lot. You guys could come have coffee with me and I could talk about it all day long, and I don't want to hijack your whole meeting, but yeah, there's a lot that we can do.
Well, I just want to personally say thank you so much for coming out tonight and giving us all this information. If you have places where you want us to show up, times you want us to call, please absolutely email us. We want to absolutely be involved and help as much as we can. It is definitely one of those things that, quite frankly, you may not think it affects you, but it always affects you.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
if we're lucky, we all get to age, and so thank you so much for coming out tonight. Kathy, I see you have your hand up.
it's Kara's doing they do these fabulous forms, and they're gonna do 2 on long-term support services. 1, what we're asking for, the legislation, and 2, how you go through how you would hire somebody, what you ask for, what you need, what you should expect to pay. The forms are fabulous. If anybody's interested, I'll give the website where you can go and register. But very, very informative, that will add on to all the great information that Debbie just gave us. But the more you hear it, and the more different, well, I wonder if English is my first language, and the many different ways that you hear it will help you understand it so much better. That's all. That's what I want to say.
Go ahead and throw that link into the chat, and we'll get that on our link email. So, and all of the links that are in the chat, we're going to send out to the whole group. So again, thank you, Debbie, so much for coming out tonight. It was an absolute pleasure to hear all of that information, and you've got me fired up, man.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thanks for everybody's engagement.
Thank you. Okay, so next we are going to do something that I lost my document. Okay, so you should have everybody should have received the minutes from last week or last month, whatever it was, and I'm gonna briefly display them, and we will go ahead and do the poll approving that, hopefully. Okay, any comments? You're gonna have to speak up because I cannot see, but I will go ahead and stop the share, and we're gonna release the poll. Okay, give everybody a couple seconds. Okay, gonna go ahead and end the poll. So if you haven't voted, go ahead and do that. Ending poll now. And that has passed. And next, we are going to I didn't see any items from the floor. Anything that anybody would like to add to items from the floor? Okay, seeing nothing, I'm gonna go ahead and show that. And so if that is approved, I'm gonna stop the share. And we're gonna add.
I wanted to make an announcement, so I don't know if that's items from the floor or.
I got you on announcements already,
Thank-
but so thank you very much, but I will definitely get you in there. We've got a couple announcements. So if anybody else has announcements, go ahead and shoot me a message or a text and I will add you to the list. Okay. Give everybody another second and we're going to end the poll now. Okay, and that has been approved. So we are going to keep it moving. And next, we are gonna do officers' reports. I have nothing to report. Steve and Nancy as co-secretaries, nope. Okay, Jacob, I don't think you had a report tonight.
Yeah, no report.
Okay, awesome. And Dawn, I will go ahead and display your report. Dwayne, I do see your hand, but I will get to you after officer reports. Let me get out of this. Okay, Dawn's treasure report. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay.
All right, everyone. For the month of April, we took in a total of $750, which was $315 in dues and contributions, $435 for the trivia night event. For expenses, we had $682.93. That included expenses related to trivia night, plus a table banner for our upcoming event with Congressman Thompson, and flowers for our president, leaving us with an ending balance of $27,626.18. I also want to acknowledge we had $211.83 in in-kind contributions in April, all related to the trivia night. And if you look down at below, you will see that our net proceeds for trivia night were only $152.15. So thanks to all of the people who made in-kind contributions, that we didn't have to spend that money to obtain those goods and services. We are at 90 paid members for 2024, including 41 sustaining members, and we have several recurring donors, contributing a total of $255 a month. So I want to thank everyone who is either a sustaining member or is contributing monthly. We thank you for your ongoing support of the club. And for those of you who have not already done so, although I think everyone here has, please pay your dues for 2024. You're no longer a voting member. And that's all I have for the treasurer's report.
Julia, you're muted.
Thank you, Jacob. Dwayne, go ahead. You are also muted, sorry.
Okay, sure. It's like an
I
announcement.
just did it. Oh,
Okay.
I have the announcement regarding the Fairfield general plan.
Well, this is different.
Okay, so you also want to make an announcement. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's more, is that okay now or should I wait?
Go ahead and wait for the announcement section and then we will and we'll get to it in just a minute. Let's see. Okay, so the only thing that we have left on the agenda is the fundraising report. Right now, that's mostly Dawn's report, was the money that we made from the trivia night. It was not as successful as we hoped. So we have been discussing our plans for the rest of the year. The fundraising committee is going to meet again, but it is looking like we're going to go ahead and call it for the year on fundraisers. It does seem like people are getting asked for a lot of stuff from a bunch of different places. And so, and asking everybody to kind of put in. So, we are going to take a pause, regroup. We will be having another fundraising meeting. We will also be having another event. However, this event will be free or very inexpensive, depending on how much I can wrangle money out of Dawn. So that is the fundraising report. I see a couple hands. I am going to wait for once. Okay, so we are at announcements, and I am going to go ahead and go from the top of the list. And since the first person to ask was Kathy Carriage, I'm going to start with her.
Hi, so I'm Kathy Carriage. I'm chair of the Progressive Democrats of Benicia. And I wanted to personally invite everyone to, I hate to say it, a fundraiser after the last speech. But it's actually the first fundraiser we've ever had. So we're trying to follow in your steps a little bit and build up our treasury for political activities in the fall. So this is going to be on look at my calendar, May 12th, May 11th. Wait, that's May 18th. Wouldn't it be nice if I got the date right? It'll be May 18th from 12 to 2, and it's going to be at one of our members' homes, Jack and Maggie Koch. It's celebrating, recent wins that we've had. And Assembly member Lori Wilson will be speaking, and Christopher Cabaldon. And we'll be having some champagne, some light bites, and we are also going to be having a violinist, Bob Jocelyn, who plays a variety of different kinds of violin, but mostly a jazz violinist. I think everybody might have gotten have already gotten a information announcement about this. On the announcement, it says the deadline is today, but we are going to extend it for a couple of days. So we hope to see you guys, and would love to, just want to extend this invitation to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, Nancy, you were up next. Nope, you remuted yourself.
There. Okay. I just wanted to make a quick announcement. I talked to Mary Jane Volker today, who works with Congressman Thompson, and she wanted me to remind everybody about Congressman Thompson's pasta dinner, which is on May 19th from 5 to 7. And of course, she would love everybody to buy tickets for it. There has been a venue change. She did send out something, and we also sent out something that the venue has been changed to the Vacaville Center for Solano Community College. So please take note of that if you already bought your tickets. She also asked me to pass on that she still needs volunteers to help with things like serving wine or helping with cleanup. So if you're interested in doing that, or if you're able to do that, I would be happy if you just email me, and I'll pass your name and send your email on to her so she can contact you. And that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Kay Patrice Williams, you have an announcement. Go for it.
I do.
I'm sorry,
keep on a theme of
Councilwoman.
fundraisers. Oh, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, awesome. Well, in the theme of fundraisers, my name is Kay Patrice Williams, Councilwoman, and I'm having a fundraiser on May 18th as well, Saturday, at Ballykeel Estates. It's an evening of inspiration. And just realize, just complete coincidence, that three of the honorees were here tonight. Debbie Toth, who you all have just met. So now you know why she's an honoree. She's an inspiration to many. Also, two club members are also honorees. Dr. Francis McCullough and Jacob Francisco, honorees. And then there's a few more. This is an inaugural event, meaning the first. We'll be having these annually. And it's going to be a huge silent auction. We're now at 21 silent auction items. And you know it's bad when you're looking at the silent auction item and you want to bid yourself. So you know it's a problem. I'm just honored to have this event. Fundraising 2 years early. Why does that make sense? Well, I won by 12. And I won against someone that I'm pretty sure is part of the MAGA party, a Republican, but like she's extreme. So it's important. I want to continue this hard work and hard fight on the city council. I would love you all support. To come, if you want to buy a ticket and donate it to a young person, feel free to do that. But just wanted to make that announcement, and I believe an email is going to be going out to all of you all. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. Dwayne, you are up next.
Less of an announcement, more of a comment. It was. So
Oh,
this
I'm
past
sorry. I didn't realize that. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. This past weekend, several of us from working on Solano Together against the Flannery Project did tabling at the Dixon Mayfair, and you're going to find this very interesting. We were allowed to table with the Solano County Republican Central Committee, and well, I mean, we have a very diverse coalition from Farm Bureau to the Sierra Club to the Republican Central Committee. What I found fascinating was they were able to engage a lot of people just walking by. It was pretty impressive, the amount of engagement they had. And I didn't see any presence of the Dems there as an organization. And I thought it was a missed opportunity for Democrats. That's my comment. This was the Mayfair. I don't know what's cooking for the county fair. There we're going to table with the Sierra Club. We have partners all over.
Okay.
But I think it'd be good for the club, all the clubs, particularly with the Central Committee, to be at these big community-wide type events.
We have done it in the past. It does require volunteers and
Right.
money, which
Right.
the Mayfair is not our most successful event, I will say. We do tend to have a little bit more success at some of the farmers markets. But thank you very much. Marilyn, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I have a brief announcement. I've been following the Fairfield general plan update that's been going on for several years now. They recently had a meeting with the Planning Commission and then with the Citizens Advisory Committee that's been working on the general plan update. And they're getting to the kind of pretty far down the line now in terms of approving the plan that will guide development in Fairfield until 2050. So there will be a meeting a week from Tuesday. It's the 21st of May at 6:30 in Fairfield City Council chambers. My understanding is that the City Council will be asked to direct the staff to finalize the plan, which does call for developing a portion of the southern part of the Sassoon Valley and making it manufacturing. That's something that we've been concerned about. A lot of good things in that plan, but we understand they'll get direction, and that will lead to finally doing an EIR. And we understand they hope to have it done by the fall so that they can finalize the plan and the environmental, the draft environmental impact report then. And then based on comments, they'll get a final EIR later in that year, or early in 2025. But if you're interested in what's going on there, May 21st is the date. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have 2 more announcements. Marion? Where'd she go?
Darn, it wouldn't work.
Oh, there you
Yeah, just real quick, tomorrow night, for those of you in Vacaville, there's, on the city council meeting, there is an agenda item requesting Vacaville have a moratorium on future battery storage facilities to allow us to do some research and study and determine what might be in Vacaville's best interest, because there are 2 or 3 companies, some of whom have already purchased property in around the area that we defeated the last proposal, and they are wanting to build battery storage facilities. So we would like to be able to direct how and what type of facilities so that we can ensure more safety for the residents of Vacaville. And in order to put these people off until we can study the issue more, we would like the council to vote to have a moratorium to give them time to study it. So there's that. And just as a fun thing, my Markham Neighborhood Association and some other members, Alice and Joan, with their neighborhood associations, are going to be walking in the Dixon Mayfair, geez, you got it on my mind, in the Vacaville Fiesta Days parade with a float that the 3 associations have gotten together to make. So look for us if you're there.
Oh, that's so fun. Jacob, go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to make a quick announcement. The Solano County Young Democrats are having our next meeting next Monday, May 20th at 7 p.m. If you're interested in attending, let me know. I'm also going to drop in some information in the chat if you wish to attend.
Awesome. Jeanette, you have your hand up. I know you were doing something.
So I just wanted to say that Marion made an announcement about the battery storage. Also on the agenda for tomorrow, we have a big presentation on the energy conservation and using solar panels. So it's a big presentation for Vacaville as well, because we have kind of been behind the 8 ball on some of the climate things. So I think that will be a good thing for the solar panels and public spaces. So I just want to mention that.
Awesome. So I did just want to say that everybody is throwing fundraisers, which is which is why it was a little tough to compete with everybody. So we were not dismissing anybody else throwing fundraisers, more that we are having a tough time on these election years for having fundraisers because we're competing with everybody. So excellent job. If anybody has any other links they want to put in the chat gets sent out to the whole entire membership. Thank you all so much. Do we have anything else, or would somebody like to make a move to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn if there's nothing else.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. With a move in a second, let's everybody either physically raise your hand or go ahead and say aye.
Aye.
We are looking adjourned. So thank you everybody so much for all of your patience with with me tonight. And I really do appreciate everybody coming and listening to what we had.
Good work, Julia.
Thank you. Thank you all. Okay. I'm gonna save the chat if nobody has anything else to put in it. And I'm also going to stop the recording.